My name is Chris Miller. I am the Senior Director of International Business Development for One Group here in Singapore. And I'm very proud to be talking today about our latest venue in Sentosa called One Flower Hill.
So, One Flower Hill is steeped in so much legacy and heritage, right? Tell us what inspires the design of One Flower Hill.
Yes, well, like you mentioned, One Flower Hill is located at Imbia Hill, which is a very special location within Sentosa. It's at the crossroads of what's called the Heritage Trail and the Nature Trail in Sentosa. We first saw the venue in 2016, and it was looking very different back then. But we could see that the grandeur, the romance of the location, the beauty of the building really had a huge amount of relevance to the location, as well as something that would just be very inspiring and beautiful for visitors to Sentosa and Singapore to enjoy. So the design aesthetic very much reflects that natural environment, the conservation nature of the property, making sure that we pay proper respect to those topics when it comes to sustainability as well as nature as well as conservation, while still being quite contemporary, quite modern in style.
How do you continue to maintain One Flower Hill's vintage and sort of historical legacy while also keeping it fresh and modern? Like how do you strike that balance?
It's not too difficult actually, because it's one of those properties where you really don't want to do too much. You want to make sure that the original feeling of the property is maintained. But of course, then you want to walk into what we describe as a floral wonderland. So it's hand in hand. So it's making sure that we are consistent and we follow the conservation guidelines. At the same token, ensuring that it works well with the overall floral theme. I mean, that's One Flower Hill, right? And also being somewhere that is fun and engaging, and everything sort of works well together in terms of the vibrancy and the location.
Could you tell us a bit about the different dining brands that you have on site, and what sets them apart from each other?
Yes. Well, we brought our Wild Seed brand to One Flower Hill, and Wild Seed we started at a venue called the Summer House in Seletar back in 2016. We then opened the second Wild Seed in the Alcaf Mansion in Telok Blangah in 2018, and we also have a Wild Seed in Malaysia in Malacca, which is the UNESCO World Heritage City in Malacca at one altitude Malacca. So you can see there's sort of a consistency there. They are conservation properties, again, garden settings, very romantic, beautiful locations, pet friendly, family friendly. So again, we decided to continue with this brand across to Sentosa, but we made it a little bit more relevant to Sentosa, being very attractive for visitors to Singapore, to tourists, right? So as part of the culinary direction, we have the Taste of the Archipelago, which is reflecting Singaporean flavors. Okay, so that gives our visitors an opportunity to taste really authentic Singapore flavors, as well as having the usual family-friendly, pet-friendly environment. Changing into the evening where it's a little bit more chilled, and there's a live band. There's a lot of great cocktails and drinks, and so the environment sort of evolves as you go through the day, which is more cafe, into the night, which is more bar and grill, and also a beautiful view of the Singapore Straits. So that's Wild Seed. So people know Wild Seed. It's a very established brand in Singapore. And then we introduced Camille. So Camille is our dining concept on the second floor at One Flower Hill, and it's a French Japanese concept. So French cuisine utilizing Japanese ingredients. So why French and why Camille? So Camille actually was Claude Monet, one of the famous impressionists, French impressionists, wife and muse. So you'll see him appear in a number of his beautiful floral impressionist paintings. So, again, One Flower Hill being a floral concept, we felt there was a very nice connection there. And also, when you think about romance, of course, probably France is one of the most romantic destinations in the world, right? So we felt that there was, in terms of cuisine style, for Sentosa, it's quite unique and special. It's an intimate space. It's again, very much a focus on romance. Great flavors, French flavors, but very clean Japanese aesthetic and ingredients. So we have a portfolio. So we describe ourselves as a group as being a lifestyle portfolio group. So our venues all tend to be quite big. They all tend to have some form of garden, multi-concept, and this means that there's something for everybody, from morning to afternoon to evening, 7 days a week. Of course, it means that with this concept, this location, it's a very popular wedding destination. So we really have set the place up to be the most beautiful destination in Sentosa, if not Singapore, for weddings, which has proven to be very popular already.
You said that there's something for everyone at One Flower Hill, right? What is One Flower Hill's core customer base? That's the other end. I guess I'm asking, on the other end of that spectrum, what is the core customer base or the target audience, and how is the brand marketing to those demographics?
Okay, so it's quite a divide really between locals, Singaporeans, expatriates, people living in Sentosa, as well as in Singapore, and visitors, tourists. So everybody knows Sentosa is obviously very popular with all its attractions, hotels, and so that's a very critical part, to be able to have an appeal to both those audiences. Weekends will be more local, more expats making the journey over. Weekdays will be more visitors. So the way that we market ourselves is different. We work closely with island partners in Sentosa, the hotels, the attractions, Sentosa Development Corporation, as well as Singapore Tourism Board. We were fortunate this year. We had just recently the Singapore Tourism Awards, where we had a winner and a finalist in the F&B category, both working at One Flower Hill. So the tourism element is obviously critical, and it creates another sort of unique aspect to the proposition of Sentosa. And then likewise for our local guests, our wedding clients, our corporate clients, we have a multi-pronged approach. Yeah.
What about the menu? How is the cuisine at One Flower Hill unique, and what goes into sort of curating the menus?
So we have a cuisine development team, and we have our head chef Wai Lun, and then he's supported with the cuisine development team that did all the research. We normally start developing the concepts 2 years plus in advance of opening, and then that involves everybody from the marketing team, the beverage team, operations. We have a weekly discussion, and then there's a lot of R&D and research that goes into that. So thus, for Wild Seed, for example, the reason why we decided to have a bit more emphasis on Singaporean cuisine, working with what we call local heroes. So for our high tea, for example, we work with Rempapa, which is owned by a very well-known Singaporean chef Damien De Silva, who's a champion of Singapore heritage cuisine. So we wanted to sort of show our visitors at Flower Hill, here you are in this stunning setting, conservation setting, very tropical. All the peacocks, that Sentosa is famous for wandering around, but also some very authentic local flavors, as well as our Wild Seed signatures and our Friday night grill outs and what have you. So that's a very casual, approachable aspect to One Flower Hill. But then for those that want something a little bit more special, a little bit more unique, a more intimate space, very romantic, then they would go to Camille, for example. So Camille provides a little bit more of a semi-fine dining environment, a lot more attention focused on the details, the showmanship, again, the view, and it's a very experiential dining environment as well. We have these unique kinetic light installations. So it's supposed to be something which creates a really unique memory for those that come and celebrate a special occasion, anniversary, birthday, etc., and of course wedding.